Hi, I'm David. I'd like to share with you something that is a problem for almost every human being. We all have trouble with anger and holding onto it and not knowing how to let it go. What I believe is that when we're created, God put a little bucket inside of us that we can call our anger bucket. So when something happens to us and we don't want to deal with it, or we know it's probably not a good time to deal with it, we do know that we have this bucket and we can drop this problem into this anger bucket. And as it's low and there's no other problem that comes up, we're pretty well able to deal with it as far as that's concerned. Well, but then something else gets dropped into our life, and we have even more tendency to say, well, it worked before, so I'm going to drop that one in the anger bucket rather than be honest and tell you that what you said made me feel angry. Well, after a while, you can see what happens is that before too awfully long, things get dropped into our bucket and it gets all the way full. Now, one of the things that happens is we're not created with a little spigot here on the bucket with a handle on it, so that when our anger level gets high enough, we can turn this on and figure out a way to let some of that anger drain. So our anger bucket gets full. And then there are also, if I put a bunch of logs here and some flames here, there are some things, there are some protagonists that will heat everything up for us. And before long, there maybe is even just a little gentle simmer going on. Our bucket is full, things are simmering, but I'm still under control, I can handle it. And what happens is this little bitty thing comes into our lives that really doesn't merit very much anger, but we also tend to throw it into the bucket as well. And what happens when that little bitty thing gets thrown into our bucket, it stirs all of this stuff up, and also it makes it run over the top to where we have this great big mess. And what happens is we'll have some kind of an outburst. We'll yell, we'll scream, we'll cuss, we'll kick, we'll hit, we'll cry. All different kind of things happen to us. Different people do different things. My brother was a kicker, for example. I was a thrower. My older of my two sisters was a crier, and interestingly enough, my youngest sister was a biter. She has scars even on her wrist. Let me tell you this story. She has scars even on her wrist from when she was little. She would literally just bite herself rather than deal honestly with some anger that she had. Well, what I think is what we need to do is we need to figure out how to install this little spigot on here so that when we realize that our anger bucket is getting more and more and more full, we can find a way to appropriately drain some of the anger rather than deal with it in harmful kinds of ways. For some people, exercise works. Going out for a run, going out for a jog. Other people, hitting a punching bag. I wish I had sold stock or bought stock in a company, in a heavy bag company, because through the years I've probably been responsible for hundreds of people buying good gloves and punching bags. And one of the things I think is important to remember is if it brings your anger level down, then hitting a punching bag or crying or journaling or going out in the woods and yelling is a good thing. If it incites you, if it becomes a protagonist and it incites you to more anger, then we're going to have to find something that's more healthy. But I hope that you'll be able to find some healthy ways to work with the anger. It's not a bad emotion. It's just that sometimes we do damaging things with it when it starts boiling over and when this big mess starts happening over this little bitty teeny thing. Can't tell you how many times that people have come into my office and they've said, we fight over the smallest things. Things that really don't matter in the larger scheme of things. And then the reason is that their anger buckets are full. And this little bitty thing gets mixed in to the mix, and all of a sudden this becomes not only the only issue, but now we're arguing about other things. Also, you'll notice sometimes if you're arguing with somebody that not only will you be talking about this issue, but you'll find a way to mention this one as well. And then you find a way to mention this one as well. And you'll also find a way to mention this one as well. Well, that's not healthy. It's not productive. So we need to learn how to stay also on one subject and resolve it and work to resolve it. Do some good conflict resolution. but then also find a way to healthily work through our anger in such a way that it doesn't become this huge overflowing problem.